Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the West Ham Network. It's Anton, joined by Jake from West Ham Unofficial. Of course, haven't been on for a while. Jake, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, not bad. That little intro thunderclap seemed to sort of represent anything's going to happen over the next 7 hours. So I'm looking forward to what you're going to tell me, Anton.
Yeah, you don't worry. We're going to go through it all. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe what's been reported out there, because I tell you what, if we go back to the Kudos deal, the Mo Kudos deal, over 2 days, you would have believed it was on and off about 40 times. At one point, it was completely off, and then suddenly, bosh, progression was made. Matt, you're back on. Stato, are you all settled in your new surroundings, mate?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, ish.
Well, what we need to get Matt to do is get his camera to work properly, because he's on proper slow-mo camera, and it's like he's back in the 1990s. Anyway, we are here to discuss loads and loads and loads of transfer news. First up, though, it's not always about West Ham. It's about everything else that's going on in the world. Jake, Liverpool have rejected a £150 million offer from Mo Salah. Go for it, mate.
I mean, this is getting a bit ridiculous, isn't it? £150 million for Mo Salah. I mean, how they've rejected that, I'll never know. You know, if you was a football club or in a position to reject £150 million for a player, then that baffles me to start with. And to be fair, I think it would probably make sense for the player, go and get his last payday in Saudi Arabia, join the gang over there. And I mean, for Liverpool, this sort of represents that they still believe he's still at a level to provide what Liverpool want, which I think some people may think not. You know, some people may think he's past his sell-by date. I'm not too sure. I think this is a big season for him, but could he still be at Liverpool come the end of the day? By the looks of it, he probably will be at this stage if they've rejected 150 million. But yeah, it's a strange one, and it's just very strange. If you just said that to me this time last summer, I'd be like, what are you on about? And it's just strange old world.
I think it's, and I'll come on to you in a second, Matt, but I think it's an interesting one, because £150 million is a lot of money. But I suppose Liverpool have got to weigh up like what he brings in to the club in terms of goals, because really that's one of the biggest outlets they've got in terms of bringing in options. But also, you know, finding replacements going to be one of the biggest issues they've got as well. De Gea's joining the crew. How you doing, De Gea?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, mate. We can hear you. I'm going over to Stato, though, first. Stato, mate, Mo Salah, 150 mil. You know, there's lots of rumours kicking about that Liverpool have kept an eye on and are still keeping an eye on Jared Bowen. Go for it, Matt. Over to you, mate.
If the bid had come in a couple of days earlier, I reckon Liverpool would have taken it. If it was this time last week and the same offer had come on the table, Liverpool probably would have done business. He's over 30. It's very unlikely that he's going to be worth any more than he is now. I think he's got to the point where he's 2 years left on his contract. But it's the replacing him. Because if they did accept it today, what are we going to turn around and say? They want Bowen. We're going to say, well, hang on a minute. We need to replace Bowen. So how much are we going to want for what we want? 80 million? You're not going to... And Liverpool got to replace him with Bowen. We'd have to replace him. It's too... That sort of... You don't normally see big deals on deadline day for exactly that. Deadline day is normally some of sort of the lesser players you wanted to get rid of, or the deadwood in your squad, or you're desperate and you pay over the odds for a player someone else didn't want. It's very rare to get a big deal done, because clubs like Liverpool don't want to sell him. Like, if you weigh it up the same way that we have with Rice for years, if you weigh up, is that 100 million plus 50 million add-ons going to be worth the goal and assists that they'd lose from losing Salah? Like, you know, they already finished, was it 6th, 7th last year? That you're not going to get time to replace it. How many goals do you lose out on?
I mean, if you're going to have to try and replace someone like Mo Salah, you can see why they would look at someone like Jared Bowen as being an option to bring in. Not now, but you can see why the link would be there. Look, I mean, what? Let's just put it on the table there. How much would it take for you to even consider? Not that I want to, never want to, but you know, Dan put it in the group chat. you 150. I want 150 mil for Bowen. That's literally what it is. That's how much he means to West Ham.
I agree. I mean, it depends how long he's got his contract. I think there's a lot of talk at the minute about him stalling on signing a new one. But if you're gonna, ask for 100 million for Declan Rice, then you're probably going to go along the same lines, because it's not always how much they're worth in the transfer market. It's how much they're worth to the club that you're buying them from. And Bowen, to me, look, he's I don't think he's almost a bit like, you won't see him throughout the game, Bowen. He's a bit of he'll go quiet for about 10-20 minutes, and then he'll do something, and he'll pop out of nowhere and score a goal. He probably is the best mould for the Salah position. I also didn't realise how quick he was until a couple of seasons ago. I think when I saw him running down the wing out of nowhere, and he's got some pace on him, so I can understand why Liverpool would want him. But like you say, money-wise, we've got, if we're going to sell, not saying we're going to become a selling club, but if we are going to sell these players like Rice to Arsenal and Bowen to Liverpool, then we've got to get the maximum we can out of them. And I think this season so far, Bowen's been just as important to us as Rice ever was for us when he was at our club. And if we were that adamant about wanting 100 million for Rice, then we've got to want at least the same amount for Bowen. And the best thing about it is that because we've got Tim Steiden in, I think that I wouldn't worry anymore about us letting Bowen go and worrying about a replacement, because we've let Rice go, and we've got about 3 players in for Rice, and who knows if we can get the same amount of players to replace Bowen. Not that I want him to go, but
yep. Let me bring some breaking news to you. So PSG will not pay the £90 million asking price for Frankfurt striker Randall Kolo Muani, opening the door for Ekitiki potentially to leave the club, who West Ham are strongly linked to. Now, depending on what sources you want to believe, I can literally give you examples right now of 4 different people reporting different stories on Ekitiki. There's rumours saying that he wants to come to the Premier League, and West Ham have got an option on the table for him. Over to you, Jakey boy.
I think it's a player that we've been linked with for a good couple of years consistently through transfer windows. I can't say I've even watched the bloke play 1 minute of football in my life, but from what we're hearing from sources, I mean, from what I've seen from over in France, that he's rejected Frankfurt or something, and if he's to go anywhere, he would prefer it to be West Ham. But I still think it's an outside chance. We're getting on this 2 o'clock now on deadline day. These things aren't simple to sort out. We're not, as far as we're aware, any advanced talks to sign him. So it would massively surprise me if we did this today. No doubt, and he's a good player. We've been linked with him for a good couple of seasons now, and Steiden's obviously given his seal of approval with it as well. And yeah, if it happens, I'll be surprised.
Hold on a minute. Breaking news: West Ham Network have signed a new signing coming onto the channel. Look, can you make your introductions, please? Oh no, they've gone. They've gone. Oh, there we go. This is the debut. Matt, what do you think on Ekitiki? Do you think that's a genuine option? Again, depending on what reports you're reading. Matt, you're also someone who's reasonably active. Matt's our Darmish in the group chat, because every day when he posts something, it's going to be a picture from a quote from a reputable source, and the reputable sources are coming in, and it's literally ridiculous how contradicting they are. Some people are saying that people are expecting West Ham not to do much business. Some people are saying we're very active with outgoings and ingoings. Ekitiki, can you see that one happening, Matt?
Yes, I think PSG want to get rid of him. However, there is also Brentford on the table, and it depends what Brentford are going to do. Well, I think we all know we don't have the money to buy. we're trying to push loans and loan to buys, which apparently at one point, at least a couple of days ago, PSG were happy to do. But Brentford were in for Jonathan Bakayoko, the PSV centre forward. That offer was rejected today. It was like 40 million euros. PSV, rejected it because they couldn't get anyone in to replace him. And Brentford still holding interest. So if Brentford turn around and take that money and offer that to PSG instead, will that sway a deal the other way? I don't know. You'd like to think that it's someone we've been after, someone we've pushed for. And if Tim Steiden gets involved, it normally seems to go quite well. I would definitely take him. I think that's probably one of two positions we're definitely still lacking in. I think we need that in a fullback. We need who it is. I don't know. Like there's even other names being floated about, like Premier League players we could probably get in for a centre forward. It's kind of at the point, like I said, deadline day is sort of normally desperation. It's not normally the teams that have happy and done their business and got everything sorted aren't normally active deadline day. We need to get a centre forward in, like end of story. But I know Moyes is very stubborn, so who knows?
Yep. More news coming out regarding the Mo Salah deal. That is the fact that Al Ittihad have said they're not giving up on signing Mo Salah, so they will come in with a counter offer for him. That will probably be upwards of 175 million. I would have thought Liverpool are still stating Salah is not for sale. No ifs or buts about it. So they're going to go and tempt Liverpool with an offer. It's going to go crazy in the market. Now, reports are also coming out right now, so I may as well put this one out. Let me do it. Let me do it. Looks likely that Chelsea are going to let Ian Maatsen leave the club this window. Whether that's a loan. Yep, a loan. I think they're keen to have it out on a loan, but a permanent is also possible. So look, the young left back, a position that West Ham are really keen on trying to fulfill. What do you think about the potential of us doing a deal there? Can Luke not hear me? Luke?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know. I didn't know you said Luke. Sorry, my name. So what was the deal again? Sorry.
Ian Maatsen. So Chelsea are willing to let him leave today on a loan or a permanent deal, apparently, according to sources.
I'd take a loan because I don't think you realistically having too many players for one position is fine having cover, but and competition for places, but after a while it gets a bit busy. And I wanted Creswell to be sold because I don't like his attitude and the fact that he refused to do this, that, and the other for West Ham. All my respect for him is gone, but that's just me. That's a personal thing. And if we're going to keep him now, then maybe don't get him in because, or just let Creswell right in the reserves and get Emerson as obviously the starting left back and have Maatsen as the cover coming in for him. But I think he played really well last season, didn't he? He was one of the bright sparks, and I think West Ham are building something for the future. And if we can get some more, up and coming young players in, then I'm all for it. Absolutely all for it. I just think that as Creswell stood at the club, and he's obviously got a bit of arrogance, a bit of an ego about him. He probably won't want a young kid coming in taking his place. He's going to cause problems. Yeah. We're doing really well at the minute, so I don't want to rock the boat. But I'd have him all day long, but I don't think really it's going to work out as Creswell's still at the club.
Yep, absolutely. Jakey boy, if anyone is watching and they are new to the channel, then Jake runs his own channel called West Ham Official. Head across there, give him a little cheeky subscribe. Puts out regular content as well. He's doing a couple of shows later on throughout the day, so make sure you do go on and check him out.
Can I just just interrupt there? Talking to someone who's been watching this channel with me on it for quite a few years, and remember when Jake first burst onto the scene, and she can't believe how much he's grown, and it just shows. Like I'm saying, respect to you, Jake, because you've been doing this isn't easy, this YouTube stuff, and you've done it from a young age, and I wouldn't have done it from your age. To be fair, I wouldn't have had the balls to do it. So, well done for you to keep it going. I know your dad really works hard with you as well, so it's a joint thing. But well done to you.
You should see the video that Jake found a while ago about him coming on our channel for the first time, and he is literally a baby. Like you are a baby.
Awful. It's absolutely awful. Thank you.
You can hear the gradual voice changing as he's getting older.
I know, even as he's talking now, I'm just like, oh my god, you can tell the difference. But no, but well done, mate. You run a fantastic channel, mate, and respect to you for doing it all these years. You know.
Thank you. It's there's definitely been a change. I can see that.
Other reports coming out again. Again, the focus is going to be on Luton tonight. We've got Luton. We're not going to talk about that because we've got all that content coming up later on today as well. West Ham are looking likely that we are going to bring in one player just now we know of. Bit random, but let's just talk about it. Let's address the elephant in the room, and that's Andy Irving from Austrian side SK Austria Klagenfurt. It looks like we're going to do a permanent deal and then loan him straight back to the Austrian leagues. Jake, thoughts on the most random possible deal that you've heard of this window? Is another Jordan Hugo?
Yeah, I watch loads of Austrian football. I'm quite an expert on it, actually. So,
let's go for it. Go on.
Yeah, never heard of him until about 2 hours ago. I think it all just burst on the scene as the Conference League, the Europa League draw was starting, and everybody was a bit bemused by it. And then we sort of heard that he's likely to never play for West Ham, and it's just sort of Tim Steiden doing a little bit of, digging and, a little bit of relationship building with other clubs and just let him do what he likes. This is just random that, nobody's reported it until today. And all of a sudden this is getting done. And we're signing a player that somebody said earlier will never play for West Ham. So weird. But just to pick up on Mattson, I think if any player's going to sign for West Ham today, I think it will be him. I think that's the probably least complex deal to get done. Obviously, he'll already be in London, and I know we've got Cresswell and Emerson there already, but I can still see Moyes thinking, looking over at Cresswell, everything that's happened there. We might not know the full story of it, don't get me wrong, but from what we know, it doesn't sound good. And I think Moyes might want to just cover his tracks, and I think that will probably be the easiest loan deal to get done if we're going to get any deal done today. But this one from the Austrian league, strange. But
hold on a second, though. There is some more breaking news.
Whoa.
Brennan Johnson to Spuds. Here we go. Brennan Johnson to Tottenham. Here we go. Agreement reached right now with Nottingham Forest on a deal in excess of £40 million with add-ons included. The total package is upwards of £45 million. He's on his way for medical tests at Spurs' training ground right this second. Matt, thoughts? Brennan Johnson, Spurs?
I'm slightly confused. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a very good player, and he's definitely in today's market worth what Tottenham have just paid for him. But he's not centre forward. If anyone was going to splash big money on deadline day to buy a centre forward, it should have been Tottenham. But in real reality, sold Harry Kane for 100 million, and I mean, you know the expression, you can't hit a barn door. I don't think Richarlison can hit the barn, let alone the barn door right now. Like the drop off between the current finishing ability of Richarlison and Harry Kane is astronomical. Anyone needed a centre forward, it was Tottenham. Like I said, even someone like Ekitiki that we're looking at, Tottenham should have just chucked the money at him. Brennan Johnson's going to be fantastic in a counter-attacking team, which Tottenham don't look like doing. He's a very direct, technical, like taking people on. But they have that. They already have that. I suppose, you go strength and depth because they've got Kulusevski and Son. I think Lucas Moura left. But it's not a centre-forward. Unless Son's going to play centre-forward, or maybe he's going to play Brennan Johnson centre-forward. It's... we're
not here to discuss the tactics for Tottenham.
But baffling.
Before we do move on, though, Jake, can you do me a favour? Can you put the link in for what Michael is mentioning here? Jake is in again for the... Say it, Jake. Let everyone know.
I'm up for the best young content creator again this year at the Football Content Awards. So the link that I'm about to, if I can find it, Anton, if I put it in the private chat, could you put it in? Because I'm not on. Is that all right?
Yep, that's fine,
I've just
mate.
put it there. So yeah, I'm up for the best young content creator award at the Football Content Awards. The link that Anton's about to put in the chat, if you click that, you scroll down to the best young content creator category. You type in West Ham Unofficial, scroll to the bottom, hit submit. There's your vote. Voting closes tomorrow at midnight, I think. So yeah, if you could vote, that would be greatly appreciated. And let's get West Ham a second trophy this year and prevent Spurs.
Please, if you are watching, please take the time out to do it. It's just a link. Before the show goes offline, I'll repost that same link again. But please go on, give it a click. It really does give a lot of support, especially to someone like Jake, who's been through the YouTube world, like you mentioned it there earlier on, at such a young age and growing with it and putting out some really good content. So it really will give a boost as well that way. So please get across there and do that if you can. But yeah, loads of stuff going on. There's loads of news kicking on and about, and you know, X has just said that, you know, it's going to be an exciting end to the window for West Ham. However, Jacob Steinberg is saying that it's a mixed view, and Jordan Davis from The Sun is saying a mixed view, and Sean is saying not many deals getting done. So there's 4 reputable sources all giving different information. So we will have to wait and see what happens as we go through it. You've seen along the bottom the banner that I've got kicking about, and that is the fact that there's West Ham earlier on today reports talking about Iniacho from Leicester, Origi from AC Milan, who's flying over to the UK for talks with clubs, and then obviously Kostic. Look, Kostic, Juventus, strong baller. Just not part of the manager's plans for this season at Juventus. They played 2 games and he's not featured, and they're looking to sell because I think they know they can get some reasonable money for him, so they can go into the market again. What's your thoughts?
I think he's a good player. I think he played really well against us in the Europa League when we was in it. Probably, you know, knocked us out. You know, he was one of the main players. I wouldn't be against signing him. My worry was why is he being let go from Juventus? I know that obviously I'm not trying to be sort of arrogant or you know, but I don't really want to sign someone that has reached their peak already. And if he's at Juventus and isn't in the manager's plans, yes, managers don't always want even good players. They just want their sort of players, you know, etc. But 20 million isn't a lot, but it isn't a little amount, if you get what I mean, either. And depending on how negotiations go and how much money we've got left, I think perhaps the money's better spent elsewhere. We've kind of got, I think, at the minute, you know, we possibly need other positions, maybe a bit more. I know striker-wise, we probably need to ship some out before we even think about buying a new striker in. Wouldn't be against his signing. I think he's a great player. When he played against us, he was fantastic. So it's just his age. But even though players played on to like they're almost like 45 now, so it almost makes it redundant. But I don't want to pay too much for him. But I don't also want to. You know, it's a fair amount, but I wouldn't be against his signing. I just think maybe there's better out there, and it's maybe a bit short-sighted. But you know, they haven't done a bad signing yet, really. So who am I to judge? Jake,
any counter to that? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it'll probably be the second option after Maatsen for a fullback, if I'm honest. Yeah. I agree with Luke. He looked good at Kostic when we played them a couple of years ago. When, well, it seems like a full roundabout thing, because before I came up here, they were doing the Conference League draw. Mark Noble was doing the Conference League draw. Frankfurt are in the Conference League now. So yeah, that's mildly amusing. But yeah, he's moved on to Juventus, and now he's moving off from there. I mean, the sort of topic of age seems to be not controversial, but different people have different sort of perceptions to what's old as a footballer nowadays, and what's, you know, you've still got plenty of life left in you. And 30, I think, is the age where he's not going to be a fix for, you know, 6 or 7 years. He's not going to be on starting left back for years and years and years, but he could fill a gap if a gap is there. And at the moment, there's half a gap, I think, with the issue with Creswell, whatever's going on there. So I do think if we're going to sign anyone today, it will be a left back. But Anton?
100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%.
Lots of French media reports are saying that Hugo Ekitiki does not want to move to Frankfurt. He wants the West Ham move, and he is now pushing to try and get a West Ham move. Hugo Ekitiki, coming from lots of French reputable reports, are saying Hugo Ekitiki wants to join West Ham. Now, there's a difference between saying he wants to join West Ham and actually West Ham getting a deal over the line. Matt, Hugo Ekitiki, do you think? I mean, do you genuinely think there's enough time in the window, mate, to get this deal done?
If it's a loan to buy, yeah. People don't realise that a medical for a loan is significantly shorter than a medical for a buy. Medical for a loan, you generally speaking just use most of the information the previous club has, and then do like a little fit list. It's nowhere near as in depth as if you're buying him. So if you can get him on a loan to buy. And it's not exactly far from Paris. You can get Stratford in what, like, was it an hour on the Eurostar?
Get Tim over there and get him back.
Was it 30, 45 minutes on a private jet? Tim could be there and back in 2 hours. Like, it should be, of all the deals, like I think we mentioned Maatsen. I think Maatsen and Ekitiki should be the easiest two to get done.
Yeah,
and that could probably take up our 2 loan spots. For me, that would probably finish off the window. It would probably be like a 9 or a 10 out of 10 window for me if we get them 2 in.
Anyone? I mean, listen,
like I said, if he pushes. Hopefully, we always say we want players that want to play for the club, and if he's pushing for the West Ham move, he wants to come play. So. Get him in.
This is a player we've all known about because he tried to, he was linked heavily with West Ham last season. Newcastle came in last minute and he ended up at PSG. So he's obviously a well thought of player. I think he does the work that we need as a striker, rather than being the kind of target man such as Scamacca and Haller. That's the sort of striker that just does not work at West Ham. But you need someone who's going to work the flanks, who's going to drop in, hold up play, connect the striker through to the midfield, do all that sort of stuff. So he definitely fits that mold of a striker. And I think if he wants to move, and he's rejecting a move to Frankfurt, plus the fact that, Frankfurt wants silly money for that player. Plus they want Ekitiki as part of the deal, not added in. They want him on top of the money that they're asking for. So they're trying to take that deal to bloody Salah levels, which is ridiculous. But for me, listen, I don't know what to believe anymore, but if Ekitiki could come in, I'd be delighted with that. But I would really I'd be absolutely over the moon if we could get him and Kostic through the door. Because I think Kostic, when you look at the signings we've made, look as well, this is one for you. You can see that not just bringing in the quality, but when you look at their stats in terms of goal contributions, there's players that have contributed a lot to either scoring or assisting. How key is that, considering that defensively, over this whole year last year, we weren't by far the worst team in the league in defensive stats?
Sorry, just repeat your question again, sorry.
Just about, focusing on getting people who can contribute to goals.
Yeah.
DWP, Alvarez.
We have changed our ethos this summer. We're being a lot more clever with, how we get players in, why we're getting players in and what they can do for us. Mavropanos seems to be a player that can score from anywhere, especially as a defender, so that's a bonus. But
box-to-box centre-half.
That's just mad, isn't it? Mad. And for West Ham to sign someone like that, that's very clever from us, and we're not normally that clever. I must admit, when we signed JWP, I thought it was going to completely be reliant on set pieces, and I was a bit like, oh, here we go again, set piece at sea. But if it works, it works. But since we've signed him, he hasn't just been the only one we brought in, obviously, and we look more complete and back to our best as a team with the way we work and the way we play. So these signings are basically Tim Steiden's the best transfer of our summer, and he's given us a new lease of life. We have a new direction. We're buying the players that this is like a breath of fresh air. I'm not going to bring them into the chat too much, but Tottenham fans were singing at the Bournemouth game, we've got our Tottenham back. To me, it's a bit like we got our West Ham back, because this. Look, I've been boys out for ages, but he's showing his old self, the old self that got us, to 5th and 7th and whatever. And can't moan. I can't moan if this the team he's building it works. The players seem happy to do what they're doing. We're getting the results, and we seem to be back on the up. And the new players are coming in. Are only going to help that. They don't seem to be like, we're not signing these players and going, oh, where are they going to fit in? No, how's he going to fit? He keeps playing Suchek when Suchek doesn't deserve to play, and these players is a complete turnaround. I don't really know where it's come from, to be honest with you, and I'm just going to let it go and enjoy it for what it is. But we're signing the right players in the right way for the right amount of money as well. They're not 50, 60 million paying over the odds. We're being clever about it. And to sign three good players for the Rice money, it just shows how clever we've been. And it's good to see, and I hope it continues. So today, it's going to be very interesting. And I'm just going to sit back and let Timmy Boy and all the rest of them do, let them do
what they're designed to do.
Yeah, do their stuff, mate. They let them on down at the minute, don't they? So.
Harry says, you boys do know that our club size is like 24, so signing 2 players on loan is nice. We'll need to sell loan 2 players who aren't English. Also, we want Lingard, who looks like to be coming in September. So yeah, apparently when it comes to Jesse Lingard, it looks like the deal is going to be signed just before the Manchester City game and announced probably just before the Man City game. Jake, I've seen you've been quite active on the old social media. You're not a big fan of the deal. Have you calmed ever so slightly, and have you become more accustomed to this deal coming through the door for West Ham?
No. If we could get Ekitiki on Maatsen today, that's a 10 out of 10 window. If we then bring in Lingard, that goes straight back down to a 9. Honestly, I cannot understand why this is even being like. Yeah, I lost my rag when it all came out a couple of weeks ago. I did.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. I completely lost my rag. Yeah, I did.
Red video.
And I've said on that, and I still maintain the opinion now, is that why on earth are we just letting him have a jolly old train at our training ground? Like, the geezer's a millionaire. Can't he find somewhere else to keep his fitness levels up? So as soon as that happened, we obviously knew he was going to sign. At the Times, all the then, oh no, it won't. It's very unlikely it'll happen. It was always going to happen since we started, opening the doors and letting him come in at train at Rush Green. I cannot understand it. And the only thing that's currently sort of going around in my head is thinking, and that comment earlier, because we've got a maximum squad size of 25, is it? For Europe, we've got to have a minimum amount of homegrown players. I don't know whether we reach that quota at the moment, but that could be, he's English. Could that be? I don't know. But honestly, don't get me started. Well, they've got me started, but
yeah, I know. I'll come on to Lingard in a second. Gary Darmish and Sky Sports said we probably will not buy anybody today. I think the key word you need to take from that, the key word you need to take from that though, is probably because that's now the 5th reporter that's weighed in that has given us different information. So you have to be prepared.
Well, I would say the key word from that is buy it. Won't buy anyone.
Yeah, good point. Oh, there he goes. Go on, Stato. Get stuck in, son. Go on. Talk to me about Jesse Lingard, mate. Go.
You know what? It's funny because I'm probably like the entire opposite of Jake. I was sort of sat on the fence to begin with. I didn't want him, but I did say if he comes in as a Lanzini replacement on not a lot of money and it's like heavily pay to play, I could see why they bring him in. And as the ball's rolled, it now looks like that's exactly what they do. It looks like West Ham are negotiating a very low. I don't know what very low is because
80 grand a week.
It's probably like. What I mean, it could be like 40 grand a week. He's coming on like 30, 40, 50 grand a week. But then every time he gets in the match day squad, he gets another 50k, and you get another 25k, and he gets 50k if he starts something. It looks like West Ham are going down that route of he didn't play a lot at all last year. He seemed to be, I don't know if it was little injuries or big injuries. He didn't play a lot last year for Forest. Although having said that, the one thing that did come out of Forest a lot was how good he was as a member of the dressing room. Behind the scenes, he was actually very good at bringing people together.
Yep.
I'm the opposite, Jake. Yeah, I'm all for it. Go for it.
Go on.
And if we're playing this Moyes ball, which we are, it suits Lingard down to a T.
Look, counter, anything?
I I don't really want him at the club because his attitude and the way he mugged us off.
I agree, Dave.
If it's going to happen, then there's nothing you can do about it. And if he's honestly sorry about it, he can apologise by scoring loads of goals like he did last time and assist on a play as you play deal on minimum wage. Thank you very much. Go down the dole queue and get your money's worth. So, if it was me, I wouldn't pay him at all. He's a millionaire.
For cutting you mid sentence there. I just want to bring you how crazy the world of footballing transfers is on deadline day, especially when it comes to social media. Literally 5 minutes ago, Sangar from PSV to Nottingham Forest was off and he was staying at PSV. Fabrizio Romano, 2 minutes ago, Sangar to Nottingham Forest. Here we go, agreement in place with PSV. He is signing for the club. He's going to travel after the deal in place as reported. Personal terms are also agreed. So he is on his way to Nottingham Forest. Another player that was linked to West Ham. Dan, you've just heard... Oh, sorry, look, continue. Sorry, just interfered there.
Oh, can I talk now, can I? So I'm gonna wait for your breaking news cut again. No, look, if I didn't really want him in the first place when he come before anyway, because I thought he was crap, and then he decided to start playing well for the first time in his career and start scoring loads of goals for us. So, look, you know, if Moyes can get the Lingard that was on fire backfiring, does well for West Ham, then drop the pride and just say, yeah, go score some goals. But I'm not over the moon about it. I'm not happy about it. He's clearly only coming to us because he's got no other interest from anyone else, and he's trying to stay fit, even though he's naturally fit anyway. Apparently, they said years ago. So why does he need to train if he's naturally fit? But anyway, yeah, not happy about it. But it is what it is. So crack on and. Yeah, do the old J Lings after a while. J Lings.
Go on, Dan. Lingard, you've said it. You've said your business, mate.
I said what I said this morning. He's a perfect Lanzini replacement. We could all sit here crying over what he did last year. Do you know what I mean? You can if you want, but you got look at it. If you were in that position, you get offered more money to go play somewhere else. You take that money because you've got to make those decisions for your family, ain't you? Do you know what I mean? If he comes in on I've said many a time, he comes in on a short contract for a year, minimal wages, say 40 grand a week. He's a squad player. He isn't going to play. This is the thing that everyone needs to realise. He ain't going to play every week. He ain't because there's.
He will.
No, he won't.
He will.
Trust me. Trust me when I say this. There's too much quality there now. So the way you got to look at it is you're dropping Kudos, or you're going to drop Paqueta, or you're going to drop JWP for him. You're not. No, none of them are getting dropped. Trust me. Even under Moyes, they're not getting dropped. So he's going to come in.
Moyes played Souček all last year, though.
Will he be?
Yeah, but Souček offers you something different to Lingard, doesn't it?
He's a different player.
Whether you like him or not, it's a completely different player.
Will he be a Europa League player then, Dan? You're in. Lingard will be the one.
And this is the thing: is like this is where I think it comes into it. If he comes in on a 12-month contract, 40 grand a week, we've got 4 competitions we've got to play in.
Yeah,
you need that. You've got to be able to rotate the squad. Otherwise, you end up in a position where we end up every year, like with Antonio, for instance, where he's bollocks by the time Christmas comes around because there's never anyone to come into the squad. And if we want to go as far as possible in all these competitions and have a good league campaign, because that's the big thing I think the fans want, is a much better league campaign than we had last year. You need strength in depth. And if Lingard can replicate half of what he did for us last time, it's a good squad signing, in my opinion. Yeah. I think you just have to separate yourself from the, he chose them over us. Yeah, that's what you have to do.
It wasn't. Sorry, it wasn't that he chose him. It was his teasing and the TikTok dances and the I might do, I might not. And then
I agree with you.
But you got to understand. You got to understand.
He did do that, but he did speak out and say he has spoken out, or the rumor is now that he's saying, "Listen, I'm proving to you that I'm changing myself." Obviously there's something in West Ham and Lingard in terms of a connection. Obviously Moyes knows how to pull those reins in, or someone at the club knows how to pull those reins in and try and get the best out of him. I've always said this, like, you can't just be shit instantly overnight. Lingard has proven that he has been good, but when there's issues behind him, he then drops his form. Then when someone puts their arm around him, he's good. And then when the arm's not around him again, he goes off in a haywire.
I'm not disputing that. I'm not saying that he's going to be a shit player for us now or whatever. Nothing to do with it. What I'm saying is that segment between the time he left Man United as a free agent and the time he signed for Nottingham Forest, it was that bit in between. I'm sorry, it's the classic thing that I don't like with footballers is the whole I'll do you a favour by coming to West Ham, or shouldn't I? Chicken run, the Instagram
Yeah,
post.
maybe, mate. But what you have to do is you have to remember Jay Lings as an entity, as a brand, and he gets paid for doing all that silly shit online. I'm nearly 40 years of age. You ain't going to catch me on TikTok dancing about. But like for him, like he's a brand, and they do it on purpose. They do it on purpose because they get paid to do it.
I know, and I'm not saying he doesn't. I totally understand where you're coming from. I'm just saying, for me, from a West Ham fan point of view, yeah, she is actually. I just said that. As a West Ham fan, I find it as a bit muggy, personally, towards us.
Yeah.
Any other club, I wouldn't care, but towards us, with his the fact as well that Moyes didn't let it go, and didn't go, okay, you don't want to know, and he pulled the string. For me, I don't like it. Look, if he comes in and scores, I don't know, 10 goals in 20 games was the same thing, I'll probably go, oh my God, I love Lingard now, whatever. That's what it's going to take, really. But I don't like it. And I think
the thing that we do need to respect, though, is that in the run up to him coming into the club, until there was a picture of him, no one knew he was training with us because he hasn't been splashing it all over social media. He's literally had his first social media post like the other day about his time at West Ham over the summer getting fit. I think maybe he realises what he did last time was wrong.
I'll reserve my judgment. Let's put it that way. I'll reserve my judgment for now.
Honestly, like I can see it. I can see exactly what's going to happen right now. Right,
I'm not taking that off, by the way.
Right. He's going to come in.
Look, that's it. Go on, Jake. Go to the side. Go on.
He's going to come in. He's going to score 10 goals. And then in January, he'll go to Saudi Arabia and earn 300 grand a week. You see it happening already.
Yeah, but it's what it is, isn't it?
Well, I mean, listen, he comes in, he scores some goals. That helps us get to the. It helps us.
Here's the question. Here's the question. So we've got currently attackers wise, we've got all them players we signed over the summer. We've got Cornet, we've got Fornals. So where does all these players go? Fornals, everybody loves him. Is he going to be demoted back down the order for Lingard or?
Hopefully not.
No, like I've already said, there's 4 competitions we're going to be planning. There's going to have to be squad rotation. However you look at it, none of these players are nailed on. You have to understand as well, when you get a squad to the level of the quality we've got, training goes up because everyone's playing for a spot. No one's nailed on. Everyone's playing for a spot. Because do you think Kudos is going to sit on the bench? Of course he ain't. He's going to want to be playing.
He will tonight, I think, personally. Anyway, that's just
but he has only just signed.
Yes,
I think that we can forgive that. But like that, my point is everyone's playing for it. Souček started the season well. He's picked up that injury. He's not going to play again tonight. Souček's going to be looking over his shoulder because if we put in another good performance tonight and the midfield 3 tick the way they did against Brighton, when does Souček get back in? So there's competition for places. I think it's healthy.
Yeah, agree.
At the club and Lingard, as Ant has said, Lingard's not a shit player. Not just shit overnight. It's just it took Moyes to put an arm around him to get the best out of him. And if he comes in for 12 months, Moyes gets.
Tommy, mate, I can't. Tommy, the comments. I'm sorry, Tommy, mate, you're fucking mental. Oh man, you wrote a comment the other day, and I had to screenshot this. Holy shit! Oh my god.
You ever done the breaking news thing for a while? Was there anything new?
Come on, Tom. We've gone 2 minutes about the thunderclap.
I'm talking now. So you might as well do it. Just interrupt me.
I'm just trying to see it. Oh yeah. Oh, hold on a minute. Hold on a sec.
Blah blah blah.
Australia manager Graham Arnold has ruled himself out as a candidate for the Hibernian job in Scotland.
Oh, brilliant.
It's just a shit Jim White, isn't it? Jim White with a top knot.
Yeah.
Let's get on to a little bit of the news about Fatty joining Brighton. I know we spoke about this earlier on, Dan. Good signing for Brighton. Jake, I know you're going to be going soon, so just to come to you first.
I think we were sort of sniffing around him for a short time. He seems to be a good prospect, and for once, it's Brighton signing a player that people have actually heard of. You know, you wouldn't surprise. I don't even know whether they've signed 3 or 4 £5 million players from wherever who they'll sell to Chelsea for 100 million next summer, and he's proved himself in in different leagues, and I think he will be a good player. Will he adapt straight away? He's played in European competitions, and I think they've made some smart signings, Brighton. I think Milner's a very smart signing for them going into Europe. I think he'll give them the sort of experience and know-how in that way as well. And yeah, I think it's another smart signing for Brighton, and yeah, they were almost put in the group of death in the Europa League, but yeah, well, we taught them a lesson, and I don't think many teams will this year. So yeah.
Right, a little bit more of an update on the Andy Irving signing. So ex-WHU employees put out there, as covered on his Patreon, that Andy Irving from the West Ham have signed him, which is part of an affiliate arrangement agreed with Tim Steiden. Irving has already returned to the club on loan, and the agreement will be a long-term partnership where we can loan players to them and have first rights on their young stars. The arrangement can't yet be officially announced, as a few things need to be finalised. So this is a longer lasting deal. And I think as part of that deal, it looks like we had to bring this boy into the club. And I send him straight back again. But do you know what? If they're building foundations all around the world, like, Rob Newman last year, in terms of doing the kind of scouting system in Brazil, and then you're obviously doing a little bit of this stuff in Austria, then so be it. That's you really want the... Dan, were you not on earlier on? Were you talking about the structure since Moyes has been at the club?
Yeah, it was you on it. It just changed, hasn't it? Like he came when he came in, he was like, "What do you mean that the scouting network's non-existent?" And then he, employed a couple of scouts and wanted to improve that. And then obviously now Tim Steiden's come in. That's the next step, really, because I would imagine Steiden would be the man to oversee like an overhaul in recruitment and how we go about it, and putting these links in place and affiliating yourself with clubs around Europe and South America and whatnot is the next step. You'd be surprised that, the affiliation a lot of these clubs have got. I know Manchester United have got clubs in Belgium, Antwerp. I believe they were affiliated with them for years. I don't know if they still are, but it's not only good for you bringing in talent, but you can send your talent there as well. I think Chelsea for a while had Vitesse on their books as an affiliation. They used to send a lot of players on loan there. So maybe that's something we're working towards.
Yep. Anyone else? Cheeky boy.
Yeah. Well, I can't say, I can't say I've actually heard of that before. To be honest with you, it's something that obviously the experience of Tim Steiden is bringing in, and it's just nice overall to have somebody who knows what he's doing there, isn't it? He seems like a very skillful man, and he's very good at his job and what he's done. And you've just got to look at our business this summer and what he's done, and the places he's gone to set up scouting networks, and just this sort of thing out of the blue that would never have happened at West Ham without Tim Steiden, wouldn't it? Let's be honest. I don't expect Sullivan can spell the word affiliation. No one to get it done. So it's just, yeah, it is what it is, and we'll find out soon. See, it took me a long time to think of that, Anton. I'm going to leave you on that note.
No, it's so funny. I can see the anger is coming out of you. I want to go back onto the Lingard situation just for a little bit before we kind of head. No, I know, but I just want to say my little bit of a cheeky piece.
Anton, I've got to go though.
Right, okay. Listen, what time are you going on in your channel?
3:00.
So Jake will be going on at 3:00 on West Ham Unofficial. So make sure once we go off, go across there and join Jakey Boy for Chinwag with all things in the transfer window as well. Jake, thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Lingard out.
Actually, I won't talk about Lingard then now that Jake's gone. And you know a lot about this Sangar going to Nottingham Forest. Is that a good signing?
Yeah, it's a very good signing for them. Yeah, really good signing. He was one of those that I would have said we should have gone for earlier on in the window. He was a bit up and down last season. His form did kind of tail off. We were linked with him last summer, I believe, and then he signed a new contract, which kind of scuppered that. But yeah, I think it'd be a good signing for them. They look like they're about to lose Brennan Johnson to Spurs, don't they? So they might have a bit of money to throw about and bring some players in. It's going to be a busy day for a lot of clubs, though, by the looks of things, because no one's got their business done. Every club, well, it seems like every club in the league is still looking to add one or two.
Matt, do you genuinely? I mean, let's put it down to what. Last couple of questions. What would you like West Ham to do? And what do you think West Ham will do into the final hours of the transfer window? Obviously, I know we've got Luton coming up. We'll talk about that later on in our show later on. But what's your thoughts?
I'd like them to get a centre forward and a fullback in. I think.
Who though? Give me your choices. So I'd like to know who you think.
Who's available. I would try and get Maatsen from Chelsea, because now that Cucurella's not leaving Chelsea, they've now said he's available, and they'll let him go on loan or a sell. So, and we seem to have rivalries aside, a decent transfer relationship with Chelsea. We've done business over the years. I'd bring him in and a centre forward. It looks like maybe Ekitiki from PSG. If not, I'd maybe join that little race for Iheanacho at Leicester. If you want someone that's Premier League proven it's going to get you goals. Outside of that, maybe, I don't know, ship Ben Johnson off to Southampton or something. I think we have to get rid of someone in the squad, maybe 2 players in the squad. Maybe they can fleece some money out of Saudi for Fornals. Yeah, that'd probably be my window. 2 in, 2 out.
Look.
I'm quite happy with the business we've done so far, to be fair. I don't see the need to go out and buy a load of players almost for the sake of it. I think if you're going to try and bring a striker in, you need to bring someone in of the same mould as Antonio. Antonio's a weird one though, because he likes to have people that can cover him when he's not playing, because doesn't like competition for his place at the same time. So he sort of gets the ump, but then he likes to have a breather every now and then as well. But if we can get Ekitiki in, then I'm all for it. But then you can have about Danny Ings, Obama, Antonio, and then the possibility of either Kudus or Bowen up front as well. So you've potentially got like 5 strikers there for a team that doesn't really use strikers in the traditional way. They've got to be workhorses, etc. Left back would be good, but as I said earlier, if Chris wasn't leaving, it's just going to create, I think, havoc. I like the whole competition for places, but you've also got to have, Chris Wolf staying for me has just sort of annoyed me a little bit, because I think if he wants to go, just sell him, just get a few million quid for him, and then get him off and then get someone younger in. But that's not happening now. So the right back situation, I think, is fine. I think it's a cross between Kera, Sifal, and maybe Johnson if you stay in. Centre backs more or less covered now. We've got a decent midfield. I'm not rushed about getting the signings in now. I would be if we hadn't started the season so well, but we have done. So that's less risk and less worry for me now. So I'm cool with it being how it is, and I'm trusting Steiden to do the work that he's done already, and I'm in total trust. Also, on that note, I'm going to shoot, lads, because I've got other things to do, and I'm getting a bit tired as well. Not since 5, so I'm going to shoot now. All right.
No worries, mate.
Yeah. So good
Thanks
to see you, boys. Hope you win tonight, and come on, you Irons. Love you. Bye bye.
Same to you, Dan. Then I'm just actually listening. I'll pass over to you, and I'm listening to the Everton reporter. So I'll let you have a chinwag about what you think we can or should bring in.
It's striker for me. I think you've got to get that cover up front. Obviously, you're listening to the Everton stuff at the minute. I would imagine Cornet will potentially come up because he looked like he might be going that way. And I think we've got to get a striker or someone who can potentially play he's a bit more versatile, maybe like Ekitiki, who can play left wing as well. I think he'd be perfect for us. And sort of what Luke said, unless Cresswell leaves, I can't really see us getting a fullback as much as I would like. A bit like Matt said, I think fullbacks is a big one, really, that I think we should be looking at, but I think they'll save that till next summer. Could there potentially be a little swap for Walker Peters at Southampton if Johnson goes there? That's something I'd explore. I think he'd do a job for us, but I just bare minimum, I'd like to see a striker through the door. That's really what I'd like.
the update there from the Everton guy was that Everton are absolutely actively in the market. They're expecting deals to get done later on in the window, and the key priority for them is out wide, which is obviously a player that we know who plays for West Ham, is in terms of Max Cornet as well. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. A couple of news updates for you is the fact that Divine, Mbama, Finlay Herrick and Emike Adiel have received England age call-ups for the September internationals. Mbama will join the under-20s as well, so that's good. Herrick is going to receive his first call-up for the England under-18s. So, a good one for them. So I think we'll see a little bit more of Mbama over the coming months or weeks, because we're starting, obviously, our life in the Carabao Cup, and the FA Cup's going to be coming up, and then the Europa League, etc., etc. Final piece of business, obviously, Amrabat, as Irish Tommy's saying, going to United. Drinking that one, Matt?
They dragged it out for long enough. I think it sort of reminds me of when we got rid of Payet. That Payet was like, no, I'm going to Marseille, nowhere else. And we're like, no, you was in the reserves. Or we'll try and flog you to the highest bidder, and he rejected them all. And in the end, we got forced into shipping him out. And it looks like the same thing, because I think Forest agreed a deal for him yesterday. He rejected them. Obviously, his brother come out and rejected us at the start of the window, so he'd have no interest coming to us. I think Fulham were trying to explore it today. And again, he said no to them. So it looks like some sort of loan with an obligation, I'm guessing, to buy. And Fiorentina have had to just suck it up in the end. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird. Man United need him, but the way it's played out is, for a club that's of the stature of Man United, it's really poor, to be honest.
They just can't sell anyone.
Shambles.
Yeah, their issue is they just cannot shift the dead wood, can they?
Because they had that 60 million on the table. They had 60 million on the table from us for Maguire and McTominay. And obviously Maguire wouldn't go, but I don't think Man United fans have woken up to the fact that he's on 240 grand a week. You can't ship that out. No one's going to pay Maguire that money. He was on 190,000 a week last year, but Man United's players were on a 25% reduction last year because they weren't in the Champions League, which they're in this year. So their wages would have gone back up. So 25% extra on top of 190 grand's got you put you 230 to 40 ballpark. No one's going to pay that.
Let me just address this comment. So, reports are suggesting that Crystal Palace have also made an offer with an option to buy for PSG forward Hugo Ekitiki. So apparently it's
so this will then
the deal done.
This will show if
he's
we're actually
sought after, though. Yeah, he's quite sought after across Europe.
This will show if actually we're interested or not. Because if they've put an offer on the table, the minimum you can do now is match their offer.
So the other situation as well is that Mapai from Everton is heading to Brentford on loan as well, which probably rules them out of bringing him in.
Yeah, it does rule them out. Going back to Brentford, he was there about 3-4 years ago.
Yeah,
I remember we were linked with him at one point. I think he was in him and Ben Rama were tearing up the championship together.
Yeah,
but I suppose he's done absolutely nothing at Everton, so they're probably happy to get him off the books. Brentford need someone to try and cover Ivan Toney for 6 months, 5 months, whatever it is. Yeah, I suppose. Might be one of them that just suits everyone.
Yep. Right, well, listen, that brings an end to this update for you. So really the update was there is no real update. It's just loads of other transfer news from other clubs.
No.
Yeah, at the moment, for the next coming hours on the lead up to the Luton game, we will have, I believe, a live start 11 prediction show. So once I get a time, I'll let everyone know about that. Keep an eye on the channel. Then we'll return pre-game about 10 to 7, talking to you about the official team news as well. And then we will give you the rundown on the game at 8 o'clock for the commentary. Dan, Matt, thanks for joining again. Everyone, hopefully we'll be back and bringing you some good news about potential and incoming to the club, but we'll have to wait and see. But take it easy and come on, you Irons.